Hello friends, welcome to It's a Ootsy Thing. I'm glad you are joining the channel today. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I am going to be going to a women's conference and be gone overnight. And so I need to have some quick, easy meals for the hubby to have so that he doesn't have to eat out and it's easy for him to just warm up. But also, I'm having company. My dad and stepmom called and said they were coming to our town, and they said, well, let's go out to eat. And I said, how about I just fix lunch? So part of what I had planned to make up extra for while I was gone is going to be our lunch. So what I'm making today is homemade sloppy joes. I do my own seasonings. I don't buy the can of Manwich. And I'm also going to be making some sausage biscuit balls. And those are so that he can just heat up easy for his breakfast that morning that I will be gone. The sloppy joes will be easy for him to heat up. It's actually just going to be one meal because he's got a work day at the Historical Society, and so they'll go grab a burger or something for lunch. So I only have to really worry about a supper and a breakfast. So the first thing I'm going to get started doing is the sloppy joes, and I'm going to brown my hamburger meat with an onion and get that going real good. I'm also going to add a red pepper to this. I was at the grocery store the other day and bought some peppers so that I could put them in a casserole that I had planned to make. I didn't get it made, and so I've got these peppers that I need to get used, and they'll be perfect in this hamburger meat as well. Now that I have my hamburger fried and I have drained off any excess grease or liquid, I'm going to add my spices. And what I'm going to add, and I've already mixed this together, is an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, a dash of allspice, a 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a dash of ground cloves, and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm also going to season it with garlic salt. And be careful not to overdo this with your salt because it can get really salty tasting. And of course, pepper. I'm also going to add one more 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I used that first can just to kind of mix up and get incorporated all the spices, but it does need another can of tomato sauce so it's not too dry. I don't know if you are like this or not, but you know, whenever you go out to eat, you really want good food. And we do have some good restaurants here, but whenever you can have just as good a food here at home, why not eat at home? You've got all the food here. It generally tastes better than eating out. And there's just a lot to be said whenever friends and family gather around the table and you're at your house and it's just a little bit more laid back than being at a restaurant. Okay, I'm also going to add about 2 tablespoons of mustard. Now this is prepared mustard. This is not dry mustard. So just a couple tablespoons of mustard. And we will just let this simmer for just a little bit. Everything is cooked and it just needs to all incorporate. So I'm just going to have this on very low heat. You know, when you have last minute company coming over and you decide to eat in, and they were just insistent on going out to eat. They said, no, we don't want you to go into all this trouble. I said, it is not any trouble. I just as soon eat at home. And, you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. And I told them, I said, it won't be fancy. This is what we would eat for lunch. And they said, okay, then we'll do that if this is what you would normally have for lunch. I said, yes, this is what we would regularly have for lunch. So whenever you have someone over last minute, you don't have to do fancy. You don't have to put a whole bunch of stuff together, especially on a weekday lunch like this. Nobody wants anything heavy. And especially since they're going to be driving about 2 hours, they don't want anything heavy that'll make them sleepy on the way home. So what I did, and I just did this without showing you what I did, I made some Jell-O. That's all I did was make some Jell-O. And then it's strawberry Jell-O, and then I put some Cool Whip on top of it. And I'm just going to sprinkle some pecans on it. We like this little Jell-O salad, if you want to call it that. If I happen to have any fruit, sometimes I'll put fruit in that Jell-O. I did not have any, and I didn't want to take the time to go to the grocery store. So it's just plain old Jell-O. And my grandma used to have this at her house all the time. And it's just simple. It's something that you would find on a buffet if you went to a salad bar. So I say don't stress. Don't stress out about going to a bunch of fancy stuff. I do have a can of peaches that I think I'll throw a cobbler together just because sometimes my hubby, he likes to have just something sweet. And so I don't always have sweets in the house. And I thought, well, since I'm going to be gone overnight, I will make him a peach cobbler. So I'm going to throw that together, which it's a very easy recipe as well. But I'm going to stick this Jell-O back in the refrigerator, and my daddy will be here in about 30 minutes, and the cobbler will be done. The sloppy joes are done. I've got some chips and shredded cheese, and we'll be good to go. So this is a peach dump cake that I am making. One of the easiest desserts, throw together real quick desserts you will ever make. So in my casserole dish, I have 1 can of peaches undrained. Now because this is just the 4 of us, I did not make a great big one, and I don't want a whole bunch left over. On top of that, I'm going to sprinkle a yellow cake mix, which would actually just be half of it. I did make my own cake mix, but you can buy a boxed yellow cake or white cake, whichever you prefer. But for this small one, you would only use half of it. But if you were using a full 9 by 13, then you would use the whole thing. But because it's just a few of us and I just had that 1 can of peaches, I'm just doing 1/2 of a cake mix. Now that I've got that spread on there, I'm going to take a little bit of spices. Let's do cinnamon and maybe a little bit of brown sugar and sprinkle on there. Cinnamon with peaches is always really good. Now I'm just going to take one of my teaspoons and just kind of sprinkle that brown sugar just to kind of make it crumbly on top. Not a whole lot. You can see there's just not a whole lot there. And now I'm just going to take some squares of butter and just put this on the top there. Because there's got to be a little bit more liquid than just the peaches. You've got to have some fat in there. So just putting a few squares of butter on the top. And I will put this in the oven on 350 for about 30 minutes or so. So here's our sloppy joes. We're ready to put those on the buns. Here's our Jell-O salad. And then we'll have peach cobbler. Well, now that we've got our sloppy joes made and have some Jell-O, have something for the hubby to eat while I'm gone, I'm going to make him something for breakfast. And what I'm going to make here is sausage biscuit balls. And a lot of times you will see these at parties, Christmas parties or different things as an appetizer. You can also make these and have as breakfast food. And I do this from time to time. He really does like these. And they're so nice that you can make them, put them in a container, and then just pop them in the microwave and heat them up when you're ready for them. So this is a very easy recipe to use. And I'll just kind of show you what I do. I take about 1.5 pounds, and the reason I say 1.5 pounds, it's close to 2 pounds of sausage, of breakfast sausage, but I used a little bit out of this package this morning for our breakfast, and so there's just a little under 2 pounds, let's say. Next thing we're going to put in is about 3 cups of Bisquick mix. Now, I made a video here some time ago making my own Bisquick mix, and I will link that video in the description as well. I like to make my own Bisquick mix. I like to make a lot of things myself. Make it from scratch. Then I'm going to add about 2 cups of shredded, grated, whatever you want to call it, cheese. And I prefer to grate my own cheese and not use the prepackaged cheese. The prepackaged cheese has cornstarch or flour or something on it, and I don't like it, and I just like to have fresh grated cheese. Now that once you have all that together, the best thing to do is just start mixing it with your hands. That's really the only way to get it all mixed together really, really good. Just get in there and squeeze it all together. That way everything gets incorporated well. And it takes a little bit of doing to get it all mixed together, but eventually it does get incorporated all together. Every time I make these, Michael says, I love these so much. These taste so good. So I like to give him this little extra treat every once in a while. There are some recipes that you will see for this that you can put olives in, black olives in it. I've even seen them where they've chopped up some fresh jalapenos and put in it as well. All right, now that I've got it all mixed together, this is what it looks like. Now I'm just going to form it into balls. Now if you were to take these to a party as an appetizer, if I were doing this for that, I would make them about the size of a walnut. But because this is an actual breakfast meal, I am going to make these, bigger, a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Just a little bit bigger than a golf ball, not much bigger. And I will just make several of these. And he will be fixed up for his breakfast and one supper, and then I'll be home and I will take care of him from then on out. If I get home too late, we might even go out to eat when I get home. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, my oven is ready, and I'm going to pop these in the oven. I have my oven set on 350, and we're going to go in there for about 30 minutes. Well, our sausage balls are done. I'm going to take these out of the oven. You will see a little bit of grease from the sausage. So what I like to do is get a cooling rack and take them off of my cookie sheet so they're not setting in that grease. And they are just yummy. So I appreciate you all watching today and seeing what I'm making for some extra foods to have around for when I'm gone overnight. These are a couple of really easy meals for when you need something to have on hand, where you can just pop in the microwave real quick and reheat. So I appreciate you all following me today. We have gained some new followers to the channel, and I welcome all of those who have joined, and we appreciate you following along. I just about dropped one. So you all have a super day, and we will see you next time on It's a Ootsy Thing. Have a great afternoon.